I kicked my sister out for trying to play spin the bottle at my husband's funeral. My husband David died when a drunk driver ran a red light while he was heading to work, and I never got to say goodbye because I'd overslept after we stayed up arguing about whose turn it was to call the plumber. My family lived 20 minutes away but only called twice, both times with my mother asking if I was eating enough before changing the subject to her book club when I tried to explain that I couldn't breathe at night without him. They never offered to help plan the service or sit with me, and when I mentioned struggling with his eulogy, my father said, "You're strong, you'll figure it out," before hanging up to watch his game. Meanwhile, David's mother found me on the bathroom floor at 3 in the morning and moved into my guest room that night, while his father held my hand choosing photos, and his brothers made sure I ate something every day. My family RSVP'd to the funeral like it was an obligation, and I knew they would show up in black playing supportive relatives, while David's family continued doing the actual work of keeping me from falling apart. The service went as expected with my family in the second row looking somber, while David's family held me up when my legs shook during the eulogy. At the reception, my sister pulled me aside and showed me her phone where she'd created a dating profile for me for when you're ready, using Facebook photos, including my wedding picture with David cropped out, and when I said this was inappropriate, she insisted, "I'm thinking ahead, trying to help why you move forward." 20 minutes later, while I was by the condolence book, my sister approached with David's coworker announcing, "You two should exchange numbers since you'll both be single and grieving," making him look so horrified he practically ran away while I grabbed her arm with shaking hands. I hissed, "This is his funeral," but she smiled, saying, "David would want you happy. I'm networking for your future," before walking away toward another group. Half an hour later, I heard my sister's loud voice near the refreshment table where she was gathering younger people from David's company, suggesting they play spin the bottle because we need to lighten the mood since David wouldn't want everyone moping. People were shifting uncomfortably, but nobody was stopping her. So when she grabbed my wrist and tried to drag me over there, I felt heat rising in my chest as I wrenched my arm away from her and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "What the hell is wrong with you?" My parents rushed over, my mother demanding, "What's going on? Why are you making a scene?" while everyone turned to watch. My father looked at the uncomfortable coworkers and smiled, saying, "Good, she's helping you meet people because you'll need to start dating soon." And when I said David has been dead for 21 days, he waved dismissively. "Exactly why your sister's being proactive. If she doesn't set you up, I've talked to our neighbor about his son who owns that farming equipment company," he said, while my mother nodded, adding, "He's successful and always asking about you." I felt sick saying, "That man is 47 years old," but my father shrugged, saying, "Mature men make better providers, and you're not getting any younger." 3 weeks of rage erupted as I shouted, "Where were you when I was screaming into David's pillow at 3 in the morning?" But my mother rolled her eyes, saying, "Dwelling on the past won't bring him back. Be practical." My sister chimed in, "That's why I made the dating profile," and held up her phone showing the cropped wedding photo, making people gasp. David's brothers stepped forward with one saying, "You need to leave now," but my father puffed up declaring, "We're her real family," while my mother added, "She's emotional, but we know what's best." I looked at David's brothers and said, "Get them out," and they immediately started moving my family toward the exit while my father shouted, "When you end up alone, don't come crying to us." I shouted, "David's family showed me more love in 3 weeks than you have in 30 years, and watched them being escorted out. My whole body was shaking as they disappeared through the doors, but for the first time since David died, I could actually breathe without my chest feeling crushed. David's mom wrapped her arms around me, whispering, "You did the right thing, sweetheart," while several coworkers approached saying they were appalled by my family and understood why I'd asked them to leave. My phone started buzzing with angry texts, but David's brother took it and powered it off, saying, "You don't need that poison today," and David's coworker from earlier came back looking sheepish. He quietly said, "I'm sorry about your sister and that whole setup thing. That was incredibly messed up. I can go date that farmer dude on your behalf if that helps," which made me laugh for the first time in 3 weeks.